and welcome to another episode of Evolve Point, your weekly podcast covering everything Shadowverse and Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, of course. I'm your host, Ignideus, content creator, caster for this game. With me, as always, are my two co-hosts. First, Lord Kalen, moderator of the Reddit. Hello.
My head hurty.
Your head hurty. And also, we got SuchPettanko, fellow streamer for Shadowverse and card games in general. How you doing?
My head hurty.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't have recorded today, but we gotta get it done. So today we only have really one topic, but it's a big one. The Shadowverse Beyond channel live stream, where they revealed a ton of new information regarding Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, which is launching in just 4 days now. So very, very exciting. 4 days as of recording this video. It's 1 week till the next episode of this, and that'll be our first episode post-launch. And we'll have a lot more to talk about then as well.
Launch clarity.
That's right. And yeah, this is literally the last episode of Evolve Point before the game finally comes out. It feels like it's been forever, you know? And we're finally here. Thank God. All right. Shall we just get right into it? Because there's a lot to cover. I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about Blue Archive at the start of the episode. So let's just dive into the news.
Like, this preview stream was really hype and exciting, but it was at a late hour for both me and Kaden. I was up till 3 a.m. I had to wake up in 4 hours to work. Didn't fall asleep until 5. So.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
I went down like a brick and woke up exactly 8 hours later, feeling fine. But man, I was having a rough go of it.
All right, well, the first news is the OPENREC Shadowverse Worlds Beyond streamer event, which is going to be held inside Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Park, which is kind of nuts, but only in the Japanese servers of Worlds Beyond Park, so we don't get to interact. But they've got some pretty insane talents on the JP side collaborating for this sponsored event, and I'm just left here wondering, when are we gonna get that in English, man? Because I feel like the big question is, why is there no marketing on the English side? It seems like that's not an issue on the Japanese side, but we basically get nothing. They got like actual talents like Karubi and Mother-san and all that, really big Japanese streamers. And hopefully we get that in English at some point too. Would be nice. I want to get iShowSpeed playing this game. Let's do it.
They should do an English like Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Creator Tourney. Just like how Shadowverse Evolve, we're having a Shadowverse Evolve Creator Tourney for set 10 coming out soon on the 20th, and tournament is going to be the
1st of July. Thank you for that.
Here's our plug.
I appreciate the plug. Yes, I am hosting a Shadowverse Evolve 2nd Anniversary Creator Tourney. Go check that out. It's on the YouTube. Thank you, Tanko. Not even I remembered to plug that. So I appreciate you bringing it up.
I will be there, and I will play something photocraft adjacent. Anyway.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there's only one topic for today's episode, but it's a big one. So we'll just dive right into the main topic here, which is the Shadowverse channel Beyond news. So on Shadowverse Evolve, what am I saying? On Shadowverse Worlds Beyond's, kind of announcement, they canceled the Shadowverse channel news program where a bunch of voice actors and KMR would reveal news about the game, but they've revived it now with Shadowverse channel Beyondo, and they revealed quite a bit of information that I want to cover one by one, and we'll all give our thoughts on it on each line item here. First up is the card reveals. So pretty interesting stuff. Some way more complicated than others. I will say that they sort of offhandedly mention a very important mechanical change as well that we have to cover, but I won't go over every single card, but for Tonko's sake, I think we have to cover the artifact stuff. What did you think when you saw that reveal? Because that was ridiculous.
Dude, mental illness, man. Like, the whole point of them making, one of the main points of them making a new separate game, a brand new game, is to like start from the ground up, start simple, get new people in with simpler, more straightforward mechanics. And then they come out with the most inconvenient combo in the game so far with the new artifact engine.
Once you get your head around it, it's not that insane, but let me explain it from start to finish, and you tell me if this is something that a new player would understand, okay? So first, you have to generate Gear of Remembrance or Gear of ambition from cards that add them to your hand. And Gear of Remembrance and Gear of Ambition can't be played, but you can fuse into them to generate Striker Artifact or Fortifier Artifact. Now, Striker Artifact and Fortifier Artifact have the same evolve conditions, so you don't have to have both. You can only get one or the other if you're stuck with only one type of gear. But don't worry, it gets more complicated from there. If you fuse an artifact into Striker or Fortifier that has a total cost of 1, you get Ominous Artifact Alpha. If you have a total cost of 2, you get Ominous Artifact Beta. And if it's a total cost of 3, you get Ominous Artifact Gamma. Then you can fuse all 3 of those to get Masterwork Artifact Omega, which is a 10-10-10 with Storm Ward and Aura and deals 5 damage to all enemy followers and heals you for 5. Now, does that make any sense if you were a new player to Shadowverse?
The TLDR is that you're effectively fusing up.
Yeah.
You're combining artifacts to generate different materials, and you combine all the gold materials to make the Yugatai. You literally combine them to make the giant mech.
Dude, that was barely a TLDR. You just explained it again.
That's not gonna make sense to new players at all. But to be fair, Artifact has never made sense to new players, so
Yeah,
it's on brand for them.
I just think, like you said, it's incredibly funny that they were like, we want the game to be less complicated, and they revealed this the day after. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and they had us at the beginning because for the expansion trailer, for the set trailer, frame 1 they show Spinaria's artifacts. So you think, oh, Spinaria, I know who that is. You're expecting like more traditional artifacts. And then they hit us with all of this, like a little flow chart. We have an official flow chart of how to get the big guy.
Yeah.
They call it the blueprint to build the Masterwork artifact. It's cool. It's really cool. It's just really weird that they chose to bring back Fusion and all this stuff for the very first like starter pack.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Game. It's literally base set, and we have this.
Yeah, this is what they expect the base line of artifacts to be going forward, which is funny. Wild.
Well, I mean, I'm happy that they haven't brought back Invoke, so we're just fingers crossed that keeps happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next up, there's also the reveal about Spell Boost Rune. So we got Dimension Climb and Kuon revealed, but the biggest thing that they announced outside of just the card effects itself is that mechanically there's a new change. Whatever alterations happen to a card in your hand, it persists if it moves to your deck. Meaning that if you have a card that's been spell boosted 5 times in your hand, and you have a card that shuffles your hand back into your deck, that card will keep its boost count while it's in your deck. And then when you redraw it, it will still be spell boost 5. How do we feel about this? This is kind of huge.
I love this. I think this is a mechanical change that a digital game should absolutely have. There is a reason why physical card games can't do this, but digitally, each of the cards in your hand and deck should have memory of what they are doing and what they have done. And this would make something like Mystic Ring fit into a lot more decks than it otherwise used to.
I think it is a good change as well. I do agree with you. Yeah.
Like Mystic Ring and a bunch of cards like Coach Joe in Buff Dragon would benefit from this change immensely. It would blow that deck up if it was ported to Worlds Beyond in its form with that mechanical change.
I think it's also like you bring up the Buff Dragon example, which I really do agree with. And I think rather than blowing it up, this change makes the deck flow so much smoother, which means that the cards themselves don't have to be so bombastic and just like instant win cards. You know what I mean? It's like now you can, retain the buff and the cards themselves can be, more incremental, and they're not forced to be like game winning cards because the change wasn't there. Now you actually get to play towards that condition, throughout the course of the game rather than all your progress being reset when you reshuffle your hand. So I agree. I think it's good. Tanko, your thoughts?
It's a huge quality of life. It's a huge quality of life improvement, but like, why they got a buff spell boost?
Yeah, that's the price of it.
We already know. We already know Runecraft was like the historically the best class in all of Shadowverse 1.
That's true.
Yep.
It's crazy that like it's a good change, but I'm just like baffled. Thankfully, we don't actually have D-Shift this time. We have D-Shift at home. The Darius spell is perfectly fine. It can get nutty. They even showed us a trailer of how nutty spellbook like Kulon with Daria can be.
It does
but,
require
like,
you to draw into another Kulon off the top 5.
Yeah,
but
it's still high volume.
Yeah. The difference between Dimension Break and D-Shift is the new card is going to demand Storm in order to win that turn, whereas D-Shift gave your card Storm effectively.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is a good change. I think also the fact that D-Climb requires a one timer for your whole turn, you don't get like an extra play point or an extra draw as well from like D-Shift. It's just way worse, but it's still pretty cool. All right, next up, we got a story preview in the stream. Just a short little clip of Dreitzen's story, and the animations are significantly better. There's like more dynamic zoom-ins, you know, but it's still in the same general VN visual novel style. What were your thoughts on the story preview? I think it looked good, and the fact that it's like fully voice acted is good too, and it does look a little better. But I don't know. Do you think it's like a little too similar to how it was before? Or were you expecting some more dramatic changes, or are you okay with this?
I'm perfectly fine with it being more of the same. I liked the story as it was, and it being a little more animated is going to be great. Personally, I do think that the story would be conveyed better if it was just an anime. But for what we're getting in game, I'm okay with it.
Me, as a Blue Archive fan, I've always enjoyed just simple, basic visual novel presentation. And the fact that we do have extra polish with like the little bit of extra zooms and little tiny animations. We got like a couple different poses even this time. And the we've had CG arts in Shadowverse 1 story. But now the CG art is in live 2D as well too. It's nice. It's pleasant.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks great. They also changed the way leader cards work. So if you played Shadowverse 1, you would know that the gacha system was that when you pulled packs, you get the rare chance of getting a leader card that gives you the associated skin. Now, instead, they made it an exchange ticket. And the exchange ticket is associated with a certain character. And the ticket can be used to claim one of 3 sets. A leader set, a card style and home screen background set, or a visage set. And once you get all 3 of that character, you can no longer get tickets of that character, and the draw rate is distributed among the other characters that are available in that pack. For this set, Legends Rise, the first set of the game, we confirmed have Albert and Daria so far. There might be 2 more because the card pack page says that they are 4 types of exchange tickets, so could be. And the leader set gives you the leader skin, of course, but also I believe the emblem and is it a flare? And then the card style and home screen background set gets you the card style as well as the home screen, of course, which you can click and it gives you a voice line. And then the visage set gives you like cosmetics for Shadowverse Park. Do you think this is? Yeah,
I've just noticed something about that actually. So Daria and Albert were actually set 1 leader poll winners.
That's right.
And we already know that Phylene is coming as well. So maybe for this first year, before they are able to do a leader poll for year 1 of Worlds Beyond, they're just going with the original first set 1 leader poll winners again. So Arya, Ralmia, Cerberus, Dark General, and Spinaria.
Yeah. What do you think, Tanka? Do you think the exchange ticket system is a good change to the leader cards, or would you have preferred it the way it was?
Yeah, this is probably the most controversial part of all the news last night. Like this does come across as you having to pull more stuff to get more things for the character that you want. They did lower the spark requirement, so you can choose the gacha, like extra gacha at 250 to get an exchange ticket for a random character, or you can like choose a specific character that you want at 350, which technically is lower to spark compared to how it was in Shadowverse 1.
Technically,
and then
there's the caveat of you get a free pack every day.
But the pack doesn't
only lower.
The pack points don't count. The free pack every day doesn't count towards the pack points.
Yeah, that doesn't count as building up pack.
That just made it a lot worse.
Yeah, that is concerning. But like, as someone that plays regularly every expansion, it hasn't been that hard for me to get enough to spark in Shadowverse 1 anyway.
No, keep in mind, you're bringing up the pack point system, which we will cover in a second, but you can also just randomly get tickets in like random packs as well.
Yeah, you could still just be a good player
Yeah.
and
Kick
just
it.
pull them naturally, bro. It's just that easy.
I think it's
But-
best to save your points. Well, we'll cover this in a bit more detail later, but generally you can use your points to either get a random choice between exchange ticket or the animated cards. I think it's best to like pull until you get the exchange tickets you want, and then go for the animated cards on your pack points, because you can't get the animated cards any other way.
It is kind of a little bit more it's a bit of a more annoying system than it was in Shadowverse 1. But at the end of the day, it is just cosmetics. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. It's annoying, but
I was gonna say I think it's unrealistic to expect them to give premium cosmetics away for free. It's like they have to earn money somehow, and I would rather they earn money through cosmetics than making the game pay to win. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't go so far as to accuse this as being like predatory or greedy, because it doesn't affect the actual gameplay experience. It's the nice thing to have. It's a flex, but at the end of the day, it isn't going to change a whole lot.
I think there are a lot of issues with this. I can see one, for instance, immediately. You get the ability to open the chest with the random reward at 250 points, then the next one will be at 200 points, right?
Yeah.
So what if instead you have the full intention of opening 350 packs that expansion? You open 350 packs that expansion, and then decide that now that you've gotten, if you've gotten lucky enough to get all the tickets you need, all of those leader tickets you want to spend 250 points on the random result, which would get you one of the random alt art cards, but you're then locked in to spending 350 and forced to choose what you want. I think that until we get in-game and our hands on the system, we're not going to know just how good or bad it is, because there is a lot of opportunities for this system to suck. IMO.
I think like, do you think that if you get all the exchange tickets, the first chest will like automatically be a fully animated, or do you think there's a chance for duplicates?
Yeah, the wording of it is the random chest that you get at 250 or 200 pack points is one of like the 6 leader tickets or the 3 alt art cards. And so when you open that random 250 one, you have a 3 and 5 at the alt art cards, which you can only get 1 of each, or a 2 and 5 of the leader tickets, which you can get up to 6 times.
I'll actually correct you there. It actually says from 4 types of exchange tickets, so there might be 2 that are unrevealed yet as well. So their odds are actually worse.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I would rather them try to eke out a profit from cosmetics than making the game less accessible. Do you know what I mean?
I think this is the wrong way.
Yeah,
I think this is the wrong way. If they're going to sell cosmetics, it shouldn't be through random chance that can cost hundreds of dollars just to get the one chase card that you want. It should be things like the bundles they have, where you buy the bundle 3 times for 3,000 crystals total, and you get the animated card at the end of that kind of thing. That is a lot more fair.
I can see that. Yeah.
I'm sure they're still going to offer plenty of other ways to get cosmetics. Like, it's not just going to be this system to get leaders. It's going to be plenty of leaders in the store, sleeves, and costumes in the regular store as well too. That's going to be more accessible.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see regarding that front. But I also think that Kaylin does have a point there. I mean, obviously, I would prefer one-time purchases than gachaing. I think gacha is just a generally not ethical.
It's also worth pointing out the fully animated cards cannot be pulled randomly.
No, they're not. They're only through pack points. Yes, but I do agree with you, Kaylin, generally. But I wonder if they're just like getting inspiration from like the other games out there, because they're also developing gacha games, right? Cygames, and like you see how much money like Genshin Impact pulls and whatever. And as a card game, rather than like having the characters actually change gameplay wise, I think you have a point that there are better ways to do this that are less like expensive for sure. But at the same time, I'm sort of 2 minds about it, because I have played a lot of gacha games where like if you don't pull the new character, you just freaking brick your account. And like this is certainly like if it's just like pretty live 2D animations, it's certainly the lesser of two evils. So I think I'm kind of like in the middle road of this. Where like yes, I would prefer it to be one-time purchases, obviously, but honestly, I can live with it if this is the case, and if this is required to make the game profitable enough to keep it free to play friendly for the actual base game, then it's like an evil I can accept. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
One nice thing though is that like at least the exchange ticket system makes it useful to pull duplicates because you're not just getting a same copy of the leader over and over again. Like I'm stuck with like 5 copies of Lisa in Shadowverse 1.
Yeah. Like at least I got my 6th Magna 0.
Yeah, so like I said, like I feel like they've sort of put a kind of compromise where yes, it is gacha, but when you claim the leader thing, you get a full 3 copies, which is fantastic. You get a full playset just for claiming it once. And the repeats for the exchange tickets, there are no repeats. Once you get all of them, they get redistributed among the other ones. So I don't know. I feel like they've stricken a sort of a good balance. But like you said, we'll have to see when we get our hands on it. But honestly, I think they took a fair middle road, in my opinion.
I can tolerate it. I'm just annoyed by how inconvenient it's gonna be for me to get the fully animated Yuri specifically.
Well, no, all you have to do is open 350 packs. It's easy.
Yeah, but
that's less than the amount of packs you have to open in base game for a leader card.
Like I'm lucky this time because if they had like a Protocraft leader alongside a Protocraft fully animated, because I can live without Davia or Albert. They might announce more. I don't know if they will, but they could announce more leaders in set 1. Probably not. But
yeah. But,
at least for now, I'm safe.
Well, I think, okay, we kind of covered it in that whole discussion, which I think was a very productive discussion there. But yes, the pack points are back. If you open a pack, you get a pack point. And then if you get 250, you can open a lucky chest, which either gets the exchange ticket or the fully animated card. And then each subsequent chest costs 200, or you can save up for 350 or subsequent 300 to get whatever you want specifically. And there's fully animated cards. And for this set, it is Yudi, Kuon, and Arya, which are very cool. So we did cover that in our discussion, but I just wanted to lay it out so it's clear.
But one more thing that's kind of annoying. Another thing that's kind of annoying, at least for set 1 and 2, is once again we have an accelerated release schedule.
Yeah, so you have to do it within a month. That is the sort of elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, it's like you can still spend tickets to pull on set 1 after new sets come out. You can still go back whenever you can afford to. It's just kind of a shame. That's a little annoying.
I want to just make it clear as well, because I saw some people confused about this, but it's not only IRL money that contributes towards pack points. It's the only thing that doesn't count is the daily free pack you get, the login pack. But like if you buy with rupees and stuff, it'll still count towards the pack points, I'm pretty sure. So it's not just IRL money purchases that count towards the pack points. So
I just don't understand why they needed to have that be the case. They could have just had the daily pack count and the pack points required to pull be 50 higher. And then if you log in every day, you're going to be rewarded with 10 extra pack points. I feel like that would be perfectly fine instead of just having different little obscure loopholes in the pack point system, different routes to go down, and having
I don't disagree with you.
Fog of war.
Yeah, it does make it more confusing, especially because they also said that the free pack every day doesn't count towards your pity counter for your free legendary every 10 packs. So
really?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
but correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you already said it. I just wasn't paying attention. But like, you now get a guaranteed legendary per 10 packs,
yes.
Within 10 packs.
Yes.
So if an exchange ticket counts as that legendary, that can be that quote unquote legendary guarantee within 10 packs, that might make it a little bit easier to pull exchange tickets.
But are exchange tickets equivalent to a legendary? That's also something we don't know, right?
So,
yeah.
Who knows, man? All right.
I have a feeling they're going to be in a separate pool that doesn't affect the legendary rates, because the legendary pull rate getting affected, what legendary you pull getting affected by having a different amount of leaders always felt just kind of inconsistent to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that at all. Would have preferred they have a separate pull rate that was kind of outside the basic one in however many for legendaries to get pulled. It was like 1.25% for a legendary normally.
I feel like this is this is really been productive discussion here, and I feel like that we all raised some pretty good points. I'd love to hear like from the comments what people think as well, because from my perspective, right, I'm obviously going to be a big spender on this game, so my perspective is obviously going to be a bit different than people who are like exclusively free to play as well. So I'd love to hear from people in the comments about this one. All right. Moving on, we also have what am I saying? We also have new player onboarding, where not only is there practice mode, which has been confirmed, where you can do AI battles against beginner, intermediate, and advanced difficulties, and there's also an AI tips feature, which is in beta. We'll cover that in a second. But there's also a battle tutorial mode where UD teaches you the specific mechanics of each class, and with each tutorial you get rupees. I'm so happy that they're finally doing this, by the way, because it's just the way the original game did it was that the only tutorial was the first few missions of the story mode, and it didn't actually teach you that much about the class, and people just got confused, and the onboarding was frankly horrible. And this means that now if you're ever confused about a specific thing, you can hop into that specific tutorial and just relearn it. So I don't know. I think this is all good news. The only bad news is the fact that the UD AI tips feature kept crashing the game and is clearly not ready for launch. But other than that, what do you guys think about this?
I think that when the maintenance ends, that's when the maintenance really begins.
I'm not even going to lie. I hope they just disable the AI tips thing. We cannot be launching with a button that just crashes the game.
I agree.
That's stupid.
Definitely on that.
Yeah.
It was so funny watching UD sabotage the stream over and over and over again.
I know, it's so dumb. But I think the battle tutorial thing is just like a great idea, and every game should just have that. Like that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a huge improvement, because in Shadowverse 1, like all we had is like a really terrible description of each class and its mechanic, like a really, really basic classic set explanation of what each class did in the like when you select a deck. And like that thing, those descriptions aged so horribly.
Yeah.
Like every class had progressed beyond just, oh yeah, Swordcraft uses commanders and officers. Yeah, they sometimes do.
And now this new battle tutorial thing also makes it so that if there's ever any new mechanics added, they can just make a new tutorial, you know? And not only is that, you know, beneficial for new players, but it also like rewards rupees for doing it. So it's just a great thing. I'm just really happy that they saw this as a weakness of the original game, and it absolutely was a weakness, and they've rectified it. That's just the kind of thing that I'm happy that they're doing, I guess. So I don't know.
The tutorial for Artifact is gonna go so hard, dude.
No, it's gonna be 10 hours long, and you get 50 rupees at the end.
Imagine how many times UD is gonna crash trying to AI assist you with Artifact.
What I love is in those early days, because with the changes to ranked mode, everyone's eventually going to get master right. But in those early days, you're going to encounter new players that are obviously using UDI to play their games for them.
Oh no, UD is only available in the practice mode. You can't play it on ranked.
I thought you could take it into ranked.
No,
damn.
it's only available in practice.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. I thought you'd be able to just turn her on and she'd be able to help you through everything forever.
That'd be stupid. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. That would be stupid. Very esoteric. Very Japanese video game.
All right. Next up, we have confirmation of the Battle Pass, as well as new ways to upgrade cosmetics. So if you're looking at it here, the Battle Pass has been confirmed to return. We didn't get confirmation about this previously, but you kind of expected it, I guess. Especially because every game has a battle pass these days. But once again, you can go up to 50 levels. There's a normal pass and a premium pass. And if you get the premium pass, you can get a card style for Ignominious Samurai. You can get a leader that's yet to be revealed and a bunch of extra, resources as well. So, battle pass coming back. That's cool. Any thoughts on that real quick before we...
Yeah, I'm going to have to hold my judgment on this until we get in game, because there's a lot of things I think that battle pass can do that are actually good and will result in more monetization for the company than not. And as you just mentioned, it's only got 50 levels. We're going to have a hell of a lot less time to get them done each time. So cutting them in half is good. But something I would like to see, a couple things, is no cap per week on how much you are allowed to progress the pass. You should be allowed to progress it at your pace and not get limited. If you want to get it done in the first week, you should be able to. And I honestly think just selling at a premium battle passes that have already expired for people to go back through is an amazing system, because new players in a couple years are going to be able to go back and buy old battle passes so they can start getting their snowball rolling. They will be able to use those battle passes, burn through them, and get their account built up. And if there's a wealth of previous battle passes to go back and do that on, they'll have a lot more content to actually play in the game. It won't really be a problem at launch. It might be in a month when the first battle pass is expired and some people missed it.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Oh no, I definitely agree with you there. One caveat is that I also want to see how generous the battle pass is, because Shadowverse 1's battle passes have always been super worth.
Crazy.
So if they're, have the same amount of value within 50 levels that the old ones did in 100, that'd be fantastic. I do agree with you that only 1 month to do the first 2 is crazy, though.
Yeah, dude, they have to take out that weekly cap.
Well, you see,
the old battle passes would be worth about 40 packs for the cost of 10 or 20 if you're doing them one a day.
It's really fantastic. But I want to have a little bit of a discussion on that. Like, I don't know if they can remove the limit, because I think it's a law in some countries where you can't have unlimited progression in a game because they're worried it'll addict the kids and they'll die in a net cafe or something. So I wonder if that's like a law.
You already have to enter your age to play Shadowverse. You already have to put in your birth year in order to play
they could
game.
Just cap it for people who are like below a certain birth date. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
because they did that. They did that for crystal purchases back in the day. You remember that?
It messed me up. On my 18th birthday, I tried to buy a bunch of crystals with my birthday money, and I couldn't because it wouldn't count me being 18 for another 3 months until January 1st the next year. And I ended up losing out on like 2,500 crystals just because of that.
That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, they could just implement that age gate again, I guess, and make it so that it's uncapped for people who are above a certain age.
As far as I can tell, like, say, for example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel's Battle Pass has no restrictions or anything. And, like, for Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can finish that Battle Pass or most of that Battle Pass within, like, a couple of days. So maybe they could have, like, a weekly limit, but, like, make it really easy to level up in Shadowverse Wars Beyond, too.
That makes sense. Like, a weekly limit instead of a daily limit makes sense to me. Well, also the other issue is that, and I hate saying this, but it is true, live service games, one of their KPIs is daily logins, which is why people limit progression on battle passes, because they want that KPI to go up. But obviously, I hate that. I would prefer it your way.
They already have an incentive for KPI because you got the daily login pass.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, we can only hope. And there's also a new way to get premium cards. So before in Shadowverse OG, a Sears Globe would make a card animated, whether it was legendary, gold, bronze, or silver. Now, thank God, there's a different resource for gold, silvers, and bronze if you want to animate them. It's called an Apprentice Globe. And the Sears Globe is what's used to create the legendary premium cards, which you get the Sears Globe shards for. And there's also Sears Gem shards, which can make a Sears Gem, which can animate sleeves and emblems. So yes, great change. I think it was always felt bad when you use a Sears Globe to globe a bronze. Just felt really punishing.
I was that guy that had to Sears Globe my Acceleratiums only for them to limit and then ban it anyway.
Yeah.
Also, Igni, remember that one time where I lost a bet and you made me globe like what was it, like crab?
Yeah,
some kind of funny crab.
Yeah.
Good times.
Now I can't force you to spend your premium resources on shit cards anymore. Feels bad. They took away my content farm, but it's in general a great change. All right.
Well, you can still force it on bad legendaries.
That's true. I could make you freaking globe Garyu, your least favorite guy.
He is some guy.
Pretty high up in my least favorite Dragoncraft characters, yeah.
And now, next thing, and it's a big one, they changed the way that ranked works. So seasons will last around a month. The first 2 sets, it'll be a 1-month season, and then after that, each set will have 2 seasons because each set will last 2 months. And I'll just read through this entire thing, and then we can give our thoughts on it. First is the actual rank, which is your rank points. And you don't actually lose rank points if you lose matches anymore. You only get penalties if you quit early. And they're going to add Grandmaster later as well. And also Master level is separate from is separate. It's determined by Master points. So that's a different thing. Once you reach Master, you can grind for a different flex stat, I guess. But the actual important thing as well is groups. So both rank and group affects your matchmaking. And with groups, it's only determined by your win rate in recent matches. So you can either be in Diamond, which is the highest, and then in descending order, Sapphire, Ruby, Topaz, or Emerald. And when you win a match, you actually get a modifier based on what group you're in. At Emerald, it's just a 1x multiplier. At Topaz, it's 1.1, Ruby 1.3, Sapphire 1.5, and at Diamond, it's a 2x multiplier. And every new set, your group resets. So if you're Diamond, you decay down to Ruby, and then for every other one, you decay down 1 level. It's a very interesting change. My initial thought is that probably, I don't know for sure, but probably Shadowverse OG already had some hidden MMR algorithm in the background, and this just makes it more transparent and also gives you a bonus if you're doing well. But that's just my thought on it. What do you guys think?
I think they definitely had something like this under the hood.
Yeah, right?
I don't know, man. Whenever I played Unlimited Ranked, I'd be at 100 points, and I'd still somehow queue up against the one guy that's got 600,000 points because nobody else is playing.
But that's the thing, Tanko. Maybe that guy is in Emerald group and you're in Emerald group, and that's why you matched up against such a high-ranking master. Because
yeah,
he just started laddering. I'd have that happen when I
just lost 20 games in a row.
Maybe he lost 20 games in a row. Maybe he was at 300,000 before he went down at 200,000.
Maybe he was sandbagging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway, that's entirely possible.
I mean, I think this is a fine system. I think, you can treat rank as an account level, you know what I mean? And you can treat group as your actual matchmaking level. Does that make sense? Because the rank doesn't decay. So rank is just like your account level, and groups is your actual MMR. That's how I'm sort of taking this. Okay, no comments.
And you will also probably like actually lose rank points if you quit early. I really hope it's not you can get banned from ranked for
no.
I think it's just going to be like a you know how for like daily missions, or maybe not daily missions,
temporary gems would only come through if you actually played for like 7 turns or something like that, right?
Yeah, like you'd have to at least like try. You can't just scoop in the first couple of turns.
Yeah.
For some of the missions, you still have to like play at least most of the match, and then you qualify to redeem rewards or whatever.
And remember, there's the master level is still a thing, and Grandmaster will be added as well. So if you're at master or higher, your rank still does matter for matchmaking. It's just that before you get to master, it's basically just treated as an account level. So there you go. I think that's fine. Honestly.
By the way, Iguni, I think we forgot to mention, for the cosmetic upgrades, they have a whole new currency you can use. Seer's Gems.
I did say that.
We did?
But you didn't say what they do.
I did say that.
And that's for I didn't hear it. That's for animating sleep.
Lock the fuck in, bros. Where are you guys at? You're just not here. Not in the same call as me.
Well, I think there's more to talk about that.
Sure. What do you want to mention?
Just the fact, the idea of them adding a whole new currency to also bring up sleeves and emblems. Now, I think they said though that you can only make premium sleeves for certain types of
I think they clarified that it's not every sleeve and emblem, but the ones that you get from exchange tickets definitely can be.
The fact that there's more variety of sleeves, like animated stuff in general, is really nice because, again, cosmetics give more incentive to spend money on things, and Shadowverse was beyond needs to make money on things.
I feel like there's been like a tide change regarding this topic ever since Legend of Runeterra died, because they couldn't make any money, and people are now understanding that free-to-play games do need to sell something for them to remain profitable and operational.
This is nice. This is fine though, because again, it's purely cosmetic, and that's it. It's not going to get in the way of the overall gameplay experience. It's only really there for like turbo collectors like myself that has to bling out every single Portalcraft thing in the entire game.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. There's also an unranked change. It's not really a big change. They're just splitting unranked into 2 ladders. A beginner ladder and an expert ladder. Doesn't really matter because it's unranked, but you know, I feel like people who are just doing their daily missions will just queue beginner because it's easier, and it doesn't really matter that there's an expert ladder. I'm not gonna lie.
And you can view the unplayable memes on the casual ladder too.
I'm pretty sure Pokemon TCG Pocket also has a casual and expert ladder, and everybody just plays casual because it's easier, and nobody plays expert at all. So. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned,
really curious as to what's gonna
casual.
Yeah. What's going to go on in the expert casual ladder? That's going to be some interesting folks, I think.
Yeah. The expert unranked ladder is just going to be purely memes, dude. Well, here's the fun part. Expert unranked is probably going to have no population. So as a streamer, I can just like ask my viewers to queue up against me with meme decks. So that's good. All right, there's also been a bunch of announcements regarding Shadowverse Park. Now, most of it is stuff we already know. You can, battle at the battle tables, you can set a win streak record at the showcase table, and you can get, accessories for your avatar from the shop in the lobby. But they also showed off gestures and stickers and customizations that you can do in the open world, and quick chat messages that are automatically translated in any language, apparently, any supported language anyway. So that's fun. You can finally meet a Japanese girlfriend from your Shadowverse Park experience.
No, you can't. The Japanese park is locked off.
Okay, the Japanese park is locked off for specific events, but I wonder if there's going to be some. I don't know how they're going to shard the server exactly, but who knows? Maybe you'll meet a Japanese girl living in Australia, Kaylin. Wouldn't that be the best outcome for you?
Comment reserved, comment retract.
And then, so the lobby stuff is mostly stuff we already knew, but they also showed off new features regarding the guild lounge. So it's a shared guild space. Guilds are confirmed up to 30 players, and you can gather guild members in this open 3D space called the guild lounge, and you unlock additional features of your guild lounge by leveling up your guild missions. So pretty cool. You sort of work together to level up your entire guild. There is one caveat that is pretty scary. There is in-game group chat with your friends and guild members, including in-game voice chat. You can warp to other players, and you can share decks and stuff. But the fact that there's voice chat scares me immensely. And it obviously scares them, too, because they released an instructional video where UD tells you not to be mean online. So you're going to have to be careful who you invite to your guild, I guess. Isn't that a bit like, was it necessary to put voice chat in the game?
Yes, I think this is going to be brilliant. I'm going to make an all-Australian guild, and all 7 Shadowverse Australian players are going to be in it.
Can you just join my guild? I was going to make I was actually planning to do like a content, like an Ignideus guild. But when they said it's only 30 players, I can't invite my viewers to just a guild that's only 30 players. So now I'm thinking of doing like a content creator guild where I just invite all my content friends to join my guild. I think that'd be fun. So look forward to that, I guess.
I can't join your guild because I'm making my guild the Blue Archive fan club. Let's go.
Lord.
Open chat, open chat Blue Archive fan club.
I could not think of a more terrifying environment than an open voice chat Blue Archive club. Next up, they also revealed how rooms work. So both in the guild lounge and your room, which is like the player housing, there's a new mode called training mode where you can play a match where both of you have revealed hands. This is absolutely fantastic for teaching new people about the game. Can you imagine? Like you're showing your hand to the player you're playing against, and they're showing your hand, so you can teach them like, oh, if you play this card right here, it's a really good play for you, etc., etc. I think this is a really good feature of like, embracing the community aspect of card games, which I really like. And you can also customize your room with posters and stuff, which we already knew. So there you go. Any thoughts on that, or shall we move on?
I have all but 9 of the posters, and it looks like there's only going to be room in your room for 6.
Yeah.
So
but they're like slideshow posters though. They cycle.
Yeah, and there's also like a TV that plays trailers in your room. So there you go.
Come to my room. We'll watch anime.
Come to my room. We'll watch the Blue Archive anime together.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
Another fantastic feature is the weekly lobby tournament, which is the most exciting thing that I think happened in this presentation, where they're basically emulating the experience of card game locals, but in a digital space. Every weekend, you play a casual tournament, and you get to like battle players and meet new people, and there's voice chat. It's like, that's kind of crazy, and I kind of love it. So I'm excited for that. And they also announced that the Rupies Galore event will be held in Shadowverse Park as well. All you have to do is play a match at a battle table or a lobby, and you just, you're qualified. So there you go. You got a chance to win 2.5 million rupees. Yippee!
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to operate more like some of those anniversary and Christmas events where you just played a private match to qualify for a chest.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That is good.
Instead of a test event where you grind for like 20 wins in a day and get 4 out of 5 chests.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, though, the weekly lobby tournament thing is absolutely genius for content. Like, I just get to compete every week at a weekly and interact with random weirdos every week. It's going to be freaking peak. I hope.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I hope voice chat's enabled, honestly. That'd be so awesome.
It's going to be so funny.
Oh, anything else, Kaylin? You're about to say something?
Yeah, I think an article came out about how to build a deck in Worlds Beyond that I don't think we've seen before.
Oh, that's a new article. That's right. So they recently launched a Shadowverse Worlds Beyond website, and they do have articles up on there. So there's an article about how to build card sets, how to create a deck, how the battles work, and then there's also a battle glossary of all of the keywords in the game. And let me just quickly Control F. Invoke is not there. Praise the Lord. Confirmed. Ooh. Invoke is not in the game.
Hey, is that?
We even have a guide on what it looks like to open a card pack, which hadn't been revealed yet.
Oh my god, they actually released an entire page of all the effects in the game, and there's no Invoke. I actually am so happy about this right now.
It can get printed later. You should still be afraid.
Nah, this is confirmation. This is good shit. All right. Thank you for that, Kaylin. I didn't even know that. That's completely brand new news. All right. Next up, I mean, they announced that they had launched the website, but I didn't know there was already articles up on there. They also announced Cygames ID. So Cygames ID also has a Twitter account now, and it's just basically a Cygames wide, profile that you can link to various Cygames games and then have it all under one banner. One interesting thing about it is that you do get packs for linking your Cygames ID, and there's also a current giveaway on the Cygames ID Twitter account where you can win a Play Store credit or something. But another interesting thing is the Cygames WebStore, where you can get crystals and maybe even exclusive cosmetics directly from the Cygames WebStore rather than paying through the in-app store, meaning that the in-app stores don't take a cut and Cygames gets all the profit, so they can actually sell it to you for cheaper. And we have Tim Sweeney to thank for this. So thank you, Tim Sweeney.
Epic lawsuit that's taken a decade. Did actually have some good fruit.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just good news. I mean, nothing to it than that.
What if I wanted Steam to have the cut because I'd get points, Steam points for the point shop?
Have you seen that? There's a subreddit called Tomorrow, and it's just people saying you have to buy a Switch 2, otherwise Shigeru Miyamoto will starve. That's how you sound right now. All right. Next up, a very important thing they announced are the launch events for the game. So first up, there's First Fairer missions. You clear all the missions to get one deck of your choice out of these 9. Just had to count them real quick. Aria, Forest, Albert Sword, Kuon Rune, Mysteria Rune, Garyu Dragon, Kerberos Abyss, Jean Haven, Orcus Portal, or Ralmia Portal. Definitely I'll have a video up on which I think is the best for you once we get the details on this, but I mean, I think I can kind of guess which each of you are going to go for just on principle. But, yeah.
Apparently,
really pushing Rune, aren't they? Yeah.
And Portal, but I mean, Portal.
Maybe they know Rune was, well, they obviously know Rune was the most popular class from Shadowverse Classic. Maybe they know that they need to push it more.
I think it's worth speculating that I think that Alan Gray, the Mysteria, might be specifically Earthright because the mechanic glossary does mention Earthright and Earth Sigils.
Interesting.
So we do have those confirmed set 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic stuff. So, I mean, once again, we don't have the details on the actual decks themselves, but given that for the Portal one, for example, Orcus and Ralmia play radically differently, I would assume, like Tango said, the Anon Grey one is radically different than the Kuan one as well. So I feel like it's going to be a lot about, what gives you the best value and what actually is performant, but also like what playstyle vibes with you the most. So just keep that in mind, I guess. Next up, we also have the Legends Rise card pack ticket release missions. There's a new celebration missions every day for 3 days. You get all of them. You complete all of them, and you get 10 tickets for Legends Rise. So you get 10 packs just for doing free missions there. Very nice. There's also the release event in Shadowverse Park, where you just do lobby matches, and you get limited time assets, card pack tickets, and rupees when the number of matches played hits a milestone. So I think it's a collective community thing, where it's like play 500,000 matches in Shadowverse Park or whatever, and then everybody on the entire world works together towards that goal, which is pretty fun. And there's also,
it's like a raid.
Yeah, it's like a raid. There's also bingo missions where you fill out a bingo sheet, and then as you do it, you get stickers, avatar assets, and other perk-related rewards. They showed here, if you complete it all, you get the legendary card pack ticket, you get an athletics set, and you get a legendary card emote where you can show off a legendary card or you show off like a golden card in the Shadowverse Park. So there you go. I mean, those are pretty good. Like I said, not only did you get all this, but remember, we did blow past the amount of pre-registrations necessary for all the rewards. So we had stretch goals up till 500,000 pre-registrations, but we went all the way to 1.5 million. And here's what you get for all that. Let me just re-clarify. So not only are there launch missions that give you rewards, but there's also, just for installing the game, because of the pre-registrations, you get 2 free card pack tickets, then 3 pack tickets worth of rupees, then an emblem, then 5 tickets, then sleeves, then 10 tickets, then a legendary pack ticket, and then the Rubies Galore event. So yeah, you get, what's that, 10, 20? You get 20 pack tickets. You get essentially 20 packs just for installing the game, and a legendary pack ticket as well, just for installing because of the pre-registration. So I think, with all of that, I feel like getting to your first fully animated card from the pack point system will probably be okay. Because again,
that's for this month. Got to keep in mind there's going to be another pack next month.
That's true. I think this month, this month
into that cadence of one expansion every 2 months, the monetization is gonna feel crazy for this first 2 months. Is what I'm gonna say.
I don't disagree. I think it will feel crazy, and the thing is that, like you said, this month is only 1 month long. But there's a bunch of release events. But next month is also 1 month. Huh? Sorry?
This month is only 1 month long.
Yeah.
A quote of all time.
True. But you know what I mean. But then the next set is also only 1 month long. But we're not going to have release events for that one. So I feel like this first one is actually going to be less onerous than the second one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm a bit worried about that.
Yeah. They also invented. They're like the last game to implement this, but they made an invite system where you can invite friends, and if they progress, you also get rewards. So it's every mobile game does this.
I've hated these systems in so many other games. I remember Shadowverse did an event where you needed to invite like 20 people. They would use your code, and then you'd have to play friendlies with them or something like that for a bunch of rewards. This was like 4, 5, or 6 years ago, and I remember I got 0 invites in that. It was a completely worthless event for probably 95+% of the player base.
I agree. I do not like these types of events at all.
Don't have friends to invite.
Well, for me, it's one of those things where I don't know. I understand why this kind of thing exists, obviously, but I kind of agree. I don't really like it either because, there's this pressure to use the code of what of the person you like or whatever. But then like if you install it accidentally and then you forget to put it in the code, and then you have to check, can I still put in a code if I already made the account? And it's a freaking hassle. And I don't like it, but I understand why it exists. Yeah. I understand why it exists, and I hope you all will use my code. Thank you. Next thing, they invented the card Compendium, and by invented, I mean stole from Pokemon TCG Pocket, and I'm happy they did. frankly, I wish Shadowverse would steal every good idea from every other card game, because I like Shadowverse and I don't like those other card games. So if they can steal good ideas from games I don't like and put it into a game I do like, that would be fantastic. But the card compendium basically is just a tracker of every card you've collected, and the more cards you collect, the higher your collection level, and then you get rewards for having a high collection level, the rewards being card styles for certain cards, and they announce that you're going to get the OG Rhinoceros as well as an alt art for Serene Sanctuary. So I like it. I like this feature a lot. I think it's fun.
The card compendium also confirms that the first set is going to be 142 cards, although we don't know if that 142 is going to include the alt arts too, maybe.
Let me just go ahead and check how many cards were in Shadowverse OG Classic. Shadowverse OG Classic has 320 cards. So it's half. It's less than half. So I understand why the release cadence is accelerated now. But
apparently, you can count the amount of neutrals on the compendium screenshot. There are 18 neutrals. Someone else can do the math to figure out how many cards are going to be in each class. I can't do math.
That actually does recontextualize the accelerated release schedule for me, knowing that the base set has less than half of OG's base set. That does make sense why they would want to speed up the release schedule for the first few months now. Actually, I understand.
Yeah, that might be wrong. This might be like ordered incorrectly. Never mind.
It might also be like just a placeholder image, but who knows.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kaylin, about this card compendium feature?
I like it. I like being able to do checklists in games. Controversial opinion, I think Ubisoft checklist games are actually kind of fun. Being able to know when you've actually 100% a game, like the classic collectathons. I like that. I like Spyro and Crash. And having a number behind it.
You say controversial opinion. I actually do kind of agree with you, but the game has to be done in a certain length. I don't like it when it's like 500 hours to do everything. That actually pisses me off.
Yeah, like Far Cry 3, you had to collect like 365 totems, and it was completely pointless to do so. Far Cry New Dawn had a perfect checklist system for it. Far Cry New Dawn had problems with its story, not its collectathon part. Like that worked out perfectly fine.
And okay, I see 9 neutrals. Oh, there's Lily in the corner. OMG, Lily, hi.
And wow. I like I said, it's not a new feature. They stole this from TCG Pocket, but good.
You should steal good features.
True and real.
That's
exactly, yeah.
All right, next up, we got tie-ins. Like Kaylin mentioned earlier, there is an official website that has articles up on it now. But another thing is that on June 16th, they're releasing the deck portal with all the cards. So I'm going to have to do a full card review of every single card in the game on June 16th. But not only is it a deck builder where you can copy and import decks and view all the cards, but they're actually going to do a step further and showcase popular decks on the deck portal, which I think is a great idea. Just like, have a one-stop shop for people to just like come in and find lists. And I honestly hope they go even a step further than that and integrate it into the client. That would be the peak. But yeah, there you go.
We eventually, after a while, had the tournament winning deck integration, and that made it really easy to just net deck. And obviously, Shadowverse Wins was a staple, an institution for the lifespan of Shadowverse 1. This will just make it easier to net deck, which, I mean, I can remember Darkness Evolved, Tempest of the Gods, and Rage of Bahamut. You could play anything. You didn't need to net deck. You could do whatever you wanted. And then specifically, Neutral Blood ruined that. That was the exact moment you couldn't not net deck anymore, IMO.
He's not wrong. When the threshold for Tier 0 gets too high, you have to net deck after that point. Yeah. And then also they have a new Instagram account where there's a giveaway for an acrylic block. They also announced a bunch of merch. There's matte character sleeves for Albert, Kerberos, Arya, Kuon, and Forte, but they're only available in Japan from August 8th. But outside of Japan, potentially, you might be able to get this from the Sai store officially. Acrylic stands for each of the leaders, square collectible pin badges of each of the leaders plus UD. Oh yeah, the acrylic stand also has plus UD. You can get a UD stand as well. And rubber playmats of Orisa, Dreitzen, and Dreitzen Solo. So there you go. And there's also like these cute little Lego figures, but they're not actually Lego. It's a company called 3D Mythical or something. But
Lego at home.
But they're like, you can have like cute little figures of Arya, Albert, Daria, Forte, Kerberos, John, and Orcus. It's so cute. I love them so much. I need to get this. I need to get my hands on this no matter what. So any thoughts on that? Are you gonna get any of this merch? I mean, I remember that on the previous episode, Kaylin talked about wishing that merch was more accessible for Shadowverse. So
yeah, if it can be quite accessible for Australians, which historically merch is not accessible for Australians, I'm definitely going to try and get some, because to this day, I, in real life, physically own nothing Shadowverse related.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of stuff from plenty of brands. I just cannot find anything Shadowverse related. And even when I saw some Shadowverse Evolve stuff while I was down visiting Sydney a couple years ago, it was like boxes of cards, no playmats, no sleeves, just the cards.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like buying just random boxes I didn't know what was in. And I am not a fan of cracking open packs in real life. It's too close to gambling in my heart, and I'm an incredibly anti-gambler person.
yeah, so
Which I know might sound a bit wrong, but like twisted to you guys, considering you play Evolve, you're perfectly fine with
That's
cracking.
my favorite.
I understand that
I
everybody.
hate the randomness
No.
when it's something I can physically hold.
No, I think it's absolutely understandable that everybody has different thresholds for what they deem acceptable. I'm not going to judge you for that, no, not at all. But like, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. They should just be more merch. But you know, part of that
Yeah.
is that the game has to just be bigger, and I just wish that you
Yeah.
know there was more marketing for it so that could be the case. But you know, it is what it is, I suppose.
I really, really need to get that Dryzen home screen, Matt.
Yeah, true and real. I want the Orisa Dryten High Five actually more because I think that's really cute. But there you go. Okay, and finally, last but not least, massive news regarding competitive play, which is, you know, my bread and butter. Quite literally, this is where I earn most of my income, is from casting Shadowverse tournaments. Of course, World Grand Prix 2025 is still happening with a 100 million yen grand prize, which is around, what, 600,000 American dollars? So it's a lot of money. The Grand Prix is announced to be held over 2 days, December 26th and December 28th in Pacifico, Yokohama. Oh, well, the Grand Finals is going to be in Pacifico, Yokohama. The day one's going to be elsewhere. But it's an international competition, and there's many ways to qualify for it. You can qualify from... So there's 7 who qualified from the original Shadowverse World Grand Prix years and years and years ago. But in total, there's 30 competitors, and here's how the other ones are going to qualify. You get 4 from the Shadowverse Online Championship, 4 from the Shadowverse Extra Championship, 4 from Shadowverse Open, 2 from Shadowverse Korea Open, 2 from Raid Shadowverse Japan Championship, 1 from Raid Shadowverse Pro League, 2 from Shadowverse Taiwan Open, and 4 from Shadowverse NetEast Championship. Now, I'm going to just go over these each. There's also, by the way, a last chance qualifier where it's held between day 1 and grand finals. It's on December 27th, and anybody can join this and just clutch up and randomly qualify to grand finals. So it's just like it's a miracle story tournament that you can just like randomly clutch up. So very, very cool. And people who lost in day 1 are automatically qualified for the last chance qualifier, as well as if you place in major tournaments. But anybody can get it, which is pretty cool. Now, I'll go through these each one by one, real rapid fire, because there's a lot to cover. Raid Shadowverse Japan Championship, despite the name, is open to everybody. It's just that it's an offline tournament, meaning you have to be in Japan to attend. But if you're in Japan from September to October, you can compete in this, even if you're not Japanese. So that's very, very exciting. And the top 2 players will get to World Grand Prix. The Shadowverse Online Championship is also held by a Japanese organization, but it's open to anybody, and it's online, so you can compete from anywhere. It's on August and November, two different tournaments, and the top 2 of each will qualify. Then there's the Shadowverse Extra Championship. This one is unfortunately only for Japan, but I understand because it's held in several cities over the course of many months, so it doesn't really make sense for it not to be Japan only. But anyway, it's in Hokkaido, Osaka, Fukuoka, and Aichi between August and November of this year, and the champion of each will qualify for WGP. So that's only Japan, just so you know, just clarifying there. There's also the Raid Shadowverse Pro League, which is even more exclusive. You have to be part of a competitive team, specifically Destination Focus Me, Yokohama F Marinos, Yoshimoto Gaming, or Lavanga Hokkaido. So this is the one for the actual big boys who are literally paid a salary to play Shadowverse. And only one is qualified from the Pro League. So if one qualifies from Pro League, there'll be like one actual paid competitive player versus a bunch of upstarts, which will be kind of fun to watch. Also, of course, Shadowverse Open is my main circuit, open to Americas, Europe, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. There's a kickoff event where one qualifies for WGP in July, and early August. And then there's a qualifier series where the top 2 of that will qualify for WGP, and that's from August all the way to October. And then there's an LCQ for this as well, where there's an event in November where the champion will qualify for World Grand Prix. So it's another clutch-up event that you can potentially qualify for. In Shadowverse Korea Open, there's 2 seasons that culminate in a grand finals in November, and the top 2 players from that will qualify. And in Taiwan, there's 2 seasons, and the champion of each season will qualify. And then there's the NetEase Championship, which is, mainland China, and the top 4 players of that will qualify. More details about that announced by NetEase soon. So lots of big news, but the most controversial one is that the format is going to be best of 1 2 decks, which is such a weird format, and I think it's honestly a bad format. So you bring 2 decks, but you only play best of 1 with 1. This has lots of negative implications because it can pollute tournament data. What if you just bring 1 meta deck and then 1 meme deck and then only pick your meta deck the entire tournament? And then suddenly you have like a tournament data that's like, champion, you have Earthright Rune and Jabberwock. It's like people get misled into thinking Jabberwock is good, for example. It's also obviously best of 1 means that variance is more of an issue. But the upside is that it requires less decks of the player, so it's more accessible, and times are shorter, so the events end quicker. But overall, I think it's bad. Any thoughts on any of this? Tanko first.
I have no competitive thoughts.
Okay,
so,
Tanko first then.
Yeah, so this is the other most controversial part of the stream by far. A lot of competitive players have been dooming over this, and I get it. For me being a 1 deck Andy kind of guy, I just had to play Portalcraft, and that's it.
That's right.
Works for me. No, I'm kidding.
Because the 2 decks has to be of different classes, but you can just pick 1 Portal and then 1 whatever, and then only pick the Portal one.
Yeah, I'll just bring like a starter deck for a second one. But like, no, yeah, this is because before it was best of 3, 2 decks, and that was a much more fleshed out experience, obviously.
Yeah, I guess for context, in Japan, 2 decks 0 ban was the standard, and in the West, or rather everywhere else, 3 decks 1 ban was the standard. But now it's neither. It's 2 decks and then you pick one, which I honestly think it's bad. I think this is a bad change. I'll just be honest.
No, yeah. I obviously, like most people, would rather play or even watch best of 3 because it's just a much more fleshed out experience.
Yeah, because there's a lot more strategy. There's, matchup strategy, lineup strategy. You're not blown out by variance in 1 game where what if you just don't draw your win con the entire game and then you're out of the competition entirely? Like, I think I'm probably going to make an entire video about this, but I really dislike this.
I'm pretty certain that they're doing best of 1 because they're doing offline events again. They're putting a huge focus on offline events, and offline events are much more tight on time because you gotta you're renting out a whole venue. So they're trying to make sure that those events run smoother and faster, which is a shame. I see people coping that it's best of 1 2 deck instead of 3 deck because it's a smaller card pool and they might expand it to become go back to those system best of 3 deck or whatever. But I think that's a stretch. I think wedging your placing your hopes on that is a bit too optimistic.
To be fair for the bloomers there, it did happen in Shadowverse Evolve JP. So in Shadowverse Evolve JP, they were best of 1 and then they eventually went to 2 deck Conquest. So there is precedent for it, but yeah, I don't know.
I could absolutely see them changing it because of the backlash. More so, I think expecting them to change it because of the smaller card pool. That reasoning just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, maybe. I really dislike this, as you can probably tell. I care a lot about Shadowverse competitive. I'm trying to get Kalen to care because he's freaking watching Counter-Strike majors, but he won't watch SVO, and I'm pissed at him. So please start caring. But no, I think this is bad. And yeah, like you said, some people are saying it's because of the limited card pool, but even then, you're already committing to this best of 1 2 decks. Just make it 2 decks 0 ban. That's fine. There's enough cards to make 2 decks. I promise.
No,
you can.
It's 142 card pool. We see 9 different starter decks. There's already obviously a bunch of those aren't going to be that good, but there's still at least signs that it's going to be a relatively diverse possibility for a diverse format.
Well, I mean, if there's only one good deck, sorry to talk over you, but I'm like passionate about this. My bad.
Yeah.
But like, if there's only one good deck and everybody's gonna bring that deck, well, then the second deck game is gonna be more fun to watch. I feel like 2 decks zero ban has no downsides.
No, yeah, that's part of what made like 3 decks so fun is that there's like so many formats where there's a top deck or top 2 decks, but watching competitive players figure out what to bring for the last deck, like, yeah, it might be a quote-unquote filler deck, but it also could be like a rogue deck that people aren't expecting or aren't prepared for, that they don't have to practice against it.
Yeah.
It was like I don't really like watching competitive stuff that much either, but I did enjoy sitting down to watch SVO because of surprise decks or interactions or whatever.
And because your good friend Ignideus was casting it, right?
That too.
No, I agree though. I think this is bad, and I'm probably gonna make a full video about it as well. But yeah, let sound off if you're a competitive player down below what you think. I'd love to gather your thoughts. But yeah, I hate it. All right. Another thing that kind of pissed some people off is that once again, JP gets way more tournament support than the rest of the world. I understand why some people are like frustrated by this, because they're like, isn't it supposed to be Worlds Beyond? Like, aren't you supposed to cater to everybody now? But at the same time, they are based in Japan. What are you going to do? So one of the things is that the Japan exclusive event support and its related events got renamed. So event support tournaments became spot battles, held both across Japan and Taiwan, where you can get exclusive emblems, evolved promo packs just by participating. And there's also city tournaments, which is the renamed version of event support regionals, and they're held in Japan, where winners qualify for major tournaments. And there's even an exclusive app where you can navigate tournaments in your area in Japan. It's called the Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Tournament Navigator, releasing on July 1st, only in Japan. So I understand why people are frustrated by this, but at the same time, I get it. Like, they're a Japanese company. Yeah. It's easier for them to hold events in Japan. So it is what it is.
I think of all things, to region lock 2 Japan tournaments make the most sense.
No.
I just don't want to feel like the rest of the world is missing out on, like, at least base level things.
Yeah, I mean,
for instance, dubs on the cards and stuff, which is obviously affecting Europe and the Latin and Spanish speaking communities.
Yeah, true. That's definitely one thing that I hope they expand upon when the game gets a little bigger, maybe. But who knows? And another thing regarding the tournament thing is that there's the University League is continuing, but instead of just University League, it's now called Shadowverse Student Battle, and it's open to high schoolers now too. So if you didn't know, Shadowverse legitimately has a student program where you can live out your card game anime dreams and compete in Shadowverse as a student, which is kind of insane. Shadowverse anime is real, but that's a thing as well. But Japan only, once again. All right, that's all the news that was in the Shadowverse Beyond channel. I guess what's your key takeaways is of my final question regarding this. Let's start with you, Carolyn. What's your key thing that you took away from this whole presentation?
I'm gonna need to get my hands on the game to feel some of these systems out and actually know if I like them or not. A lot of it was just too vague, IMO. Things that seem esoteric for no reason, like the pack point system and perhaps the MMR rating system in ranked as well. Just think the battle pass, gonna have to get my hands on it.
What would you rate the presentation out of 5 though?
Out of 5, it's like a 4.7. Would have been 4.5, but it got an extra couple points for those crashes that was so damn funny. It felt so much more real. KMR playing soccer. KMR walking around in the background doing spins because he had nothing to do. It was great.
That's funny. Okay, Tanko, what about you? What's your key takeaway and what's your rating out of 5?
My key takeaways are Artifact is funny as they should be, and I like Medusa's back. 4.5 out of 5.
I was also going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think everything they announced is good except for the tournament format. And no, that's it. I think only the tournament format sucked. I think it was bad. They should change it.
The exchange ticket thing is shaky, but it's not overly offensive. It's just inconvenient. That's
I'm of the mind that it's cosmetic, so I don't really care. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone on that, but that's how I feel. Next up, it's the viewer question. Last week, we asked you what you were expecting from the previous live stream. Let's see if you got it right. First up, we got a comment from BJ the Brave, who says, hopefully more card reveals and a brief demo of Shadowverse Park. Spot on. The only comment that was 100% accurate. Good job, BJ the Brave.
Like, safe bets. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but the brief demo was actually more in depth than I thought. They did a lot, and the game crashed 3 times, so that's freaking hilarious.
They showed off volleyball and air hockey.
Yeah. BSG Beer Money says Daria is here, so maybe they'll talk about Rune and eventually reveal D-Shift. Maybe they found a way to balance it like an SVE. So close, but no cigar. They did reveal Daria, and they did reveal a Dimension card, but it's actually Dimension Climb, and it's not Shift. GG. It's significantly different, but yes, it is still strong. And Lumosite9870 says, make Rhinoceroach great again. Combo decks are my favorite archetype. I hope there'll be more combo deck archetypes in Worlds Beyond. Ding, ding, ding! Another winner! Good job, Lumosite.
Now, they did, like, heavily restrict Roach compared to how he was before. But, like, combo is, in fact, a archetype. Combo is mentioned in Worlds Beyond.
That's right. And yeah, thank you for submitting your viewer questions. Appreciate you. And of course, we're going to be back next week with our first episode post-launch. So the next viewer question is, what are you going to do first in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond? Kaylin?
Open packs, crack them open, figure out the monetization system, look into the battle pass, and buy some crystals.
True.
I got some reasons to do that.
Anko, what about you?
I mean, I think it goes without saying, like, we're all going to be opening packs first.
Yeah, but
as far as what I'm going to play first,
yeah,
I'm gonna
brick with.
I'm gonna brick with Artifact over and over again, and I'm gonna love it.
I am planning to do a subathon, minimum 12 hours, and the more people member and super chat and sub on Twitch and whatever, it'll extend up to 36 hours potentially.
Are you insane?
After that, I have to fly to Bali for my cousin's wedding. But up until I have to fly to Bali for my cousin's wedding, I'm planning to potentially extend my subathon that long. So look forward to it. Subathon. Worlds Beyond is also, we got the exact time. It's launching 10 a.m. my time. So I'll be starting to stream at like 9:30ish. And yeah, it'll potentially be a 36-hour stream. So lock in. And catch me there. I'm probably gonna do ranked first, and then I'll in that 36 hours that I hope that there's the fear that I do a subathon and nobody donates and it stays at the face level.
To be clear, it's gonna be 10 a.m. your time, Tuesday the 17th, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm home that day. Bloody hell.
It'll be so funny if nobody donates and I just end the stream in 10 hours and I'm like, fuck this, going home. But yes, I'm going to do subathon. Look forward to that. And yeah, I hope to see you there. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much, Kaylin Tonko, once again for your time and recording this with me. And
Tonko's voice is dying.
Is it? Are you good?
Is it?
It was. You poor fella.
Well,
as in, like, my microphone was dying? Anyway.
No. Your throat. You've been talking too much, bud.
Yeah.
Well, he did do that 11-hour stream rating every Portalcraft card, and then he's never been the same.
11 hours.
I have not recovered.
Yeah. Thank you once again for everybody who's listening over on YouTube, but also on the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Please rate the podcast. It helps a lot. Appreciate it. I have yet to receive a single dime from Spotify or Apple Music or anything. So once we get some traction on that, maybe I'll be able to link this podcast to Acast or something and we can finally get some ad breaks. But right now, those make me no money. So please do rate the podcast if you're listening on those platforms. Other than that, thanks for listening. Kaylin, you can find him over on Twitter and the Reddit and the Discord. And your summon sign
random
is...
queuing in Night Rain. I've only got to get like 20 more wins, and then I will have 100% the game.
Good stuff. And you can find Tonko over on YouTube and Twitch at SuchPettanko. Tonko, any final words?
I am going to try to go to sleep again and fail miserably again.
Nice. Good stuff. Thank you guys for listening once again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.